Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video, so this will be a bit rusty. Today is the second video I'm doing on architectural design, and this one is about context. When it comes to design and building, it can sometimes be tempting to just start with whatever shapes or colors or layouts come to your head. Maybe you have an idea you've been wanting to try for a while, or you see the site for the first time and a whole building just magically materializes in your mind. As a kid, I was definitely drawn to architecture and design with that idea in mind. But buildings are very consequential and complex things, and truly useful design requires that you thoroughly research and think through the project. And it requires that you take into consideration more than just what your intuition or your instinct gives you. Context, in many ways, is the whole point of architecture, and attention to context is just more conducive to holistic design thinking. It should be about the people, specifically the people who are going to occupy the building. Otherwise, it's just about the architect, which is just a lonely and wasteful way of approaching it. Also, considering that a building is the solution to a problem or problems, there's an inherent need for attention to context. Because if you're designing the answer without paying attention to the question, then what's the point? So there's always a bunch of different contextual factors that you can look at when you're designing a building. There's the climate, which is looking at the sun and the wind and the precipitation, which is a good way to start thinking about passive heating and cooling. There's the landscape, so the type of ground that you're building on, like what's the slope, what are nearby trees or bodies of water. There's the culture of the location, so you look at local existing architecture or the history of the area and what's meaningful to the people of that location. There's the timing of the project, so what are the needs of the people of that time, and what inspires people of that time period, and what is missing in architecture. The list goes on and on, but as you research the project more and more, it becomes easier to narrow that list down. What helps is to have a handful of key ideas that you take into consideration, and then move forward from there into making the major design decisions. Sometimes when you look at the outside of a building, it's hard to tell if the architect even thought about context at all. But that doesn't mean that they didn't. In fact, in most cases, there's more process that's hidden from the occupant than there is process shown. In any case, I'll share some good examples of contextually successful buildings that I've learned about over the years. In these examples, you can start to see the key issues and problems that were the clear driving factors of the design. The Poetry Foundation in Chicago. A lot of architecture professors list this as one of their favorite buildings. It takes into consideration the simple skin and bones architecture of Mies van der Rohe's Chicago buildings, while fitting itself elegantly into the small footprint it's been given. The Iko Moyo Foundation Center in Kenya. This is a center for free education for underprivileged children. Local masons and traditional carpenters were hired. The building's timber and coral stones were locally sourced. And there's the thatching and screen walls made of makuti, which is a local dried palm leaf. The house in Chao Doc, Vietnam. Vernacular architecture of wood framing, abundant natural ventilation, and greenery that all complements the hot, humid climate in Vietnam. Metal roof and screen facades are very popular in Vietnam, and the architects worked with a very constrained site to efficiently design the circulation and layout. The Seattle Central Library. Seattle is known for sustainability, and this building is no exception, especially when it comes to the day lighting. The southeast and southwest facades of the building are in constant shade due to the adjacent high-rise buildings of downtown. Now, letting natural light into a library is challenging enough given the sensitivity of books to direct sunlight, but with the added challenge of there being little direct sunlight to begin with, the building adopts a primarily glass exterior to bring in what natural light it can. Successful architecture takes into consideration the needs of its occupants while also contributing to its surroundings. And to do that, it helps to have a holistic mindset. Starting with the why is a great way to keep the central idea or question in mind early on. Why is this building needed? Why does this choice make more sense than this one? Why does the client think they know more about design than I do? Why didn't the Astros have their World Series taken away from them? All great questions to ask yourself early and often. Thanks for watching.